Hi, I'm Kat and I play red. Seems to be the season for it. Last week we did a Kickstarter preview. This week we're doing a Kickstarter preview. And no, we're not looking at Marvel Zombicide. Far too many minis for me. We are having a look at White Hat from DDP, Dragon Dawn Productions. We recently looked at Factory 42 from them. This is a little trick-taking game with a board. Let's have a look at how it plays. White hat, as we've recently discovered, is a term to describe an ethical computer hacker. There are all sorts of reasons you might do this, testing your system being the primary one. So obviously, White Hat has an IT computer hacking theme. So the squares are all user accounts, root access, email accounts, routers, etc. So the theme, as with most of the DDP games, is really strong on this. So this is our board. We have some rather lovely pandemic cubes here because this is a prototype. I think in the final game these are going to be some cute top hats. We then have a deck of cards. Now this has cards numbered between 1 and 13. The colours are actually irrelevant, which is quite interesting for a trick-taking game. We've also got some jokers there. So that's our deck of cards, again with some thematic artwork. USB stick, yes. So first thing we're going to do is shuffle up the deck and we're going to determine who gets the White Hat card. Now we'll talk about what this does a bit later on. The first thing we do is determine who starts the game with that. And we do that by turning over the top card of the deck. And we're going to count 11 from the dealer and give that White Hat card to whoever's number 11. So we would go round table 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh look, I've got it. So we're then going to deal 10 cards to all the players. The person with the white hat gets 9 rather than 10. So let's have a look at what we've got here. So what I'm going to do is actually put my cards out here in front of me and you guys so you can see what we've got. I'm going to put them in order, obviously. So in some ways, White Hat works like most other trick-taking games. In other ways, it's not at all. So ignore the colours. The colours mean nothing. And that took me a while to get used to. So let's have a look. If I start the first hand, I'm going to obviously place my cards down and my opponents then need to beat what I've placed in order to win the trick. Now I've got a fairly rubbish hand here. The only thing I've got multiples of is the 1. So I'm going to start the round by playing 2 1s. Move these down. So that is my starting bid. Now my opponents need to place at least 2 cards with a higher number to win the trick. So let's say this person over here plays 2 5s. They would currently be winning. And then let's say player number 3 plays 2 10s. So this player would win the trick. So if we're playing 3, let's take some of these cubes off. So let's say this is the blue player. They now get to advance one of their markers on the board because they won that trick. So the blue player moves. Oh no, hang on. We want to move off this 5. Moves there. Then we would discard the cards played this round, and the player who won the last hand would begin the next hand. So let's say they are going to place 2 11s. Now play comes to me. I don't have a pair of anything. I could just play any card and then get rid of it. But I've also got this white hat. So what I'm actually going to do is place that. Now the white hat acts as a wild card. So essentially this hand is 2 4s. However, because I've played the white hat, I'm changing the rules of the game for this round. The white hat means whoever plays the lowest hand will win the trick. So currently, I'd be winning it because it's 2 11s and 2 4s. However, my opponent over here is going to play a pair of 2s. These are jokers, they're wild cards, so they count as anything. So that's a pair of 2s. So they would win the round. Now because it's a white hat round, they get to take the white hat and also take either all the cards in play or a number of cards equal to what the lead player had placed. So they could either take 2 cards and a white hat or all 6 cards. So I think what they would do is probably take those. And the rest get discarded. So this player would get to move forward on the board. Now, because there's a blue cube there, they can't actually go on that square, but they jump over it, which is actually really good in this scenario because points are bad in this game. So they've actually gone from 5 to 1, which is rather nice. So black's going to go there. Play will continue until one player has no cards left in their hand, and then you're going to score. So let's say I've played all of these, my opponents have got some cards left in their hand, but I have no cards left. So now we'll score the round. Now I'm going to score 5 points for being on this internet cafe here. Didn't put the score marks on. And I'm going to score 2 for being here. I have no cards in hand, so I don't get any points from them. So I'm going to score 7 points. So let's have a look. This is black's hand. So they're going to score 1 for being here, 2 for being here, and they're going to score the number of points shown here. So 2 and 3, so 5 points. So black is going to get a total of 8 points. Let's have a look at what blue has in hand. Now, blue finished the round with the white hat, which is 5 points. So that's really not good. So 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points. Now, in this game, you want to have the lowest number of points. So actually, despite the fact I've not moved, I'm in the lead. In the lead? Can you be in the lead if you're at the back? I don't know. In the lead for the game because I'm on the lowest points. So, and then we set the white hat to one side, draw over the top, determine who starts the round, and draw 10 cards each. Now, there's a few different tricks on this board. This board is double-sided and there's some tiles to change it, but in the basic game, there are a couple of spots, the FBI server and the honeypot here. Now, if a player moves on to one of these spots, they're now stuck there for the rest of the game. However, it means if I'm coming in from here, I bounce over them. So the FBI server and the honeypot on this board, you're stuck. You're there for good. But if you'll notice, the honeypot is 0 points. This FBI server is 1 point. So it's not the end of the world. The other thing to point out, when you win a trick, instead of moving one of your own pieces forward, you can choose to bump an opponent's piece if they're on a minus spot. So if I won a trick, I could decide to bump the black player from this -1 to the 1. If you notice, there's one here just before this honeypot, which we don't talk about. I might be traumatized by that. But you can mess around with other players' pieces. Play will continue in this way until either one player reaches that critical assets spot, or if you get to a point when a player can't move. So if the blue player was really unlucky and had both of these pieces stuck, the round would immediately end. You'll do a round end scoring and then it would be game end. So if either of these happen, the game ends immediately and the player on the lowest points wins the game. White Hat at heart is quite a basic trick-taking game with the element of having the board. However, there's quite a few different variants that mean you can ramp it up if you're playing with more experienced players or if you've played it a lot. So we've got these double-sided tiles here that you can place on the board to change the board up. I think there is little square bits that tell you where these go. So you can play with these tiles, which add some new stuff. There's a tracker variant that adds a tracking token that does all sorts of crazy stuff. It adds an extra pawn that you can manipulate. And there's then also the celebrity status cards. So these you're going to shuffle up at the start of the game, give one face down to each player, and they have to try and score as close to this number as possible. So there's loads. I mean, like, these vary from 10 to 50. I don't think we've seen anyone get close to 50 points on this. You've really got to be trying hard to do badly for that. So there's a load of different variants that add a lot more to this game. So it could well be, if you're playing with family that aren't big gamers, you play a basic game. If you're playing with your gamer buddies, you can start adding in all of these extra rules and the extra tiles, and you've got a whole new game. So I really like that versatility. The board itself is also double-sided, so you've got two base versions before you introduce anything else to the game. The other thing we really like, and DDP have done this a few times, is this really neat little box size. They're super thin, they're just really nice. I know Grey Eminence and Maze Howl also come in these really dinky boxes. If you're like me and shelf space is Premium, these are great because you can just slot them in somewhere nice and easily. White Hat is currently on Kickstarter. I'll make sure to put the link in the description below. Basically, it's trick-taking plus. The theme is really nice. The artwork goes along with that. Rob there, who's a tech fiend, has been analysing it all and can't see anything technically wrong with any of the code or ideas that are being shown as well. So that's clever. Check it out on Kickstarter now. DDP are a great bunch of guys, always worth keeping an eye on. Have a look. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click like, subscribe, share it. That's another one. Share it. Share the joy of White Hat and Cat. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.